Hi guys, my name is Yash. I'm a CBA certified business analyst, and today we'll be continuing with our 158th question of our BA interview series. So let's begin. What if the interviewer asks, company wants to build a new mobile app but doesn't know which features to include? What will you do? So I'll answer. First, I would understand the business objectives and target users. Then, I would conduct stakeholder discussions, market research, and competitor analysis to identify business needs and user expectations. Then, I would create a list of potential features and prioritize them based on business value, feasibility, and customer impact. In my craft card project, I followed a similar approach while designing features such as seller onboarding, payment retry mechanisms, inventory tracking, and personalized product recommendations. So as you can see, what I did first is I explained what exactly would I do if company wants to build a new mobile app and doesn't know which features to include. So I'll obviously first conduct stakeholder discussions, market research, and competitor analysis to identify business needs and user expectations, right? And before that, I would understand the business objective and target users, because that is super important, right? Company wants to build a new mobile app. So who are the target users? What is the business objective of that app? That would be super important. Then basically understanding the market, understanding the competition, and stakeholder discussion, super important, of how we would go through for this app to identify business needs and user expectations, right? So what the interviewer is checking here is requirements gathering, product thinking, stakeholder analysis, feature prioritization, and business understanding, right? So after I'm done with stakeholder discussions, market research, and competitor analysis, I would create a list of potential features and prioritize them based on business value, feasibility, and customer impact. Super important, right? I would create a list of potential features because after the market research and stakeholder discussions and competitor analysis of other products, I would understand which features are high priority based, which features are low priority based, right? And based on the business value, feasibility, and customer impact, I would just prioritize them accordingly. So I've given the example of craft card project where I followed a similar approach while designing features such as seller onboarding, payment retry mechanisms, and inventory tracking, and personalized product recommendation. So these are the features which were not there, but which I introduced because I did my market research, I did stakeholder discussions, competitor analysis, and realized that these features were super important. So these features were introduced, which were not there before. So I hope this is a very clear-cut answer. The most important thing is first to understand the business objectives and target users, then is to conduct stakeholder discussions, market research, competitor analysis. Once that is done, once you understand the market, once you understand what the stakeholders have in mind, once you do the competitor analysis, you create a list of potential features and prioritize them based on business value, feasibility, and customer impact. So anyway, I hope you learned something from it. Thank you so much for watching.